I did a lot of programs. I always seem to start on the technical side of things, and then I kind of move to the education side because I love teaching people, and so I started by building my own solar house and sort of from the technical side, and then I morphed into being the developing and running programs that educate mostly young people about energy efficiency and how to manage energy in their schools and on their campuses. And so I did love my work, but you know, it got a little old after a while. But I never thought of myself as a business person. I always thought of myself as a nonprofit person. And so actually when I took Amanda's class, the profitable idea, right? It was kind of, oh, you know, it's like it's good to make money. So that was sort of the platform that I started from, is sort of trying on this notion of actually making a business. So what made me need to think that was that, as Amanda said, I did sort of on a whim, some weekend, I went to a weekend glass tile making class, and I just fell in love with it. And it seemed to be like a whole part of my brain that I hadn't been using. And that
How
just,
long ago was it?
I would say 15 years.
Okay.
And so, you know, over the years, I took a lot of classes. I bought my first little kiln, and I made jewelry, and I sold it at the office, and, you know. I found that it really enhanced my life as an addition to my work, that it was so different, and I got to, you know, I'd play a little in the evening, put something in the kiln, and then I'd get up the next morning and I got to see what happened. And, you know, with glass, it's a bit unpredictable. Maybe all art is somewhat unpredictable, but especially glass, because it morphs in the kiln, and then you get to see what came out of it. Quit my day job, i.e. retired. I sort of had this platform already, and I was able to move into doing it. And I would say I do my business about 3/4 time. I don't do it totally full time, but it's serious. I am up there in the studio every day. If I don't get in the studio, it is not a great day, because it really is my happy place. I love making, I love creating, and I have expanded from just working with glass to also working with silver, which is a completely different animal. It's a whole different set of skills. But that's kind of what I need to raise my art to the next level. And as I tend to do, I morphed over to include education, and so I built expanded the 3rd floor, the little attic bedroom, into a good-sized studio. I can fit 6 people, 7 if they're friends. And I give workshops on making a glass plate and making glass jewelry, 2 different kinds of workshops. So my goals are, I have retirement income. I'm not, thank God, I'm not depending on my art to pay the mortgage, which would add a different level of stress and, you know, whatever. But I really want to get good. I want to become a really first-class artist and jewelry maker and glass maker. I am in a bit of 2 worlds, because making glass, there's a whole culture, society, organizations of glass makers, and then there's jewelry makers, and they've got their whole other culture and classes and organizations and societies. So that's a little challenging that I'm in both of those worlds. So I need to be good in both of those areas, and on my bucket list is getting into the Smithsonian show. Haven't gotten there yet, but I'm sure I will eventually. So I want to get really good. Of course, I want to sell my work, and I want to make a profit. Those are my goals. Making the art is, in a way, it's the easy part because I love doing it so much. I love learning new things. That's very exciting to me. It's almost a problem. I have to, if you're an artist, you need to have a style and a portfolio, and people need to be able to recognize your work. And I'm tempted to go off, and do new things all the time, and so I have to sort of restrict myself. But it's happened. I do have a style, and I think it's beginning to be the case that people would look at a piece and say, "Oh, that's Merrilee's. That's Joy of Glass." So now the hard part.
Don't
Yes.
you have to achieve a certain level of satisfaction with your art before you take this jump? And how do you know when you've achieved that?
Well, you do get feedback. If people buy it, then you've achieved a level of success. If people like it, now that's a double-edged sword because you don't want to be a slave to what people like. You have to make what you love. But it's a good point. I have had enough success in small increments that have made me feel like it's reasonable to go to the next step. And so there are a number of potential venues to sell glass art and jewelry, and they're different. So again, that's always a challenge. Some people just sell online. I have an Etsy shop, but I don't really use it. I discovered that if you search for fused glass jewelry, there are literally 50,000 sites. And that was kind of discouraging. So I decided I was going to do my own website and sell from my website. That is a potential venue. Another venue is galleries and retail stores. It always kind of bugs me that they take 50% of your price, and they take 50%,
Oh, gosh.
and sometimes even 55. 45 to 55 is the range, and I never could quite do that. So the other option is art shows and craft shows. And so that's what I decided to go with. It's the only way that I could figure out where you can actually sell quantities of stuff. First of all, there's the investment in all the accoutrements, your booth. And I discovered that when you apply to shows, your booth shot, a picture of your booth is as important as your work, the quality of your work. It kind of shocked me. The first year I was, got my tent and I was, set it up in the backyard and I took the shot, and then I applied to 3 or 4 shows and I immediately got rejected from all of them. And I said, what is wrong with this picture? I called them up and I said, what, did I forget to put the pictures in or something? And they said, oh, you can't have tables. You can't have your jewelry on tables. You have to look like a jewelry store. So, jewelry is the most competitive category. It's also what I sell. I mean, I have glass art and I have jewelry and people buy jewelry. And I don't think it's because my art glass isn't any good. I think it's just that people buy jewelry more than they buy art. You have displays, you have to have lights, you have to have, it's very fussy. It also takes a lot of space. You have to have, I provided for my husband an excuse to get a new truck so it could fit my panels in.
Good.
He was heartbroken at it. But, and then you have to have a place to store it. So, you know, we bought a little shed for the big panels, and then some of them are in my upstairs closet, and some of it's in the rug. You know, so there's a lot of challenges to doing shows. And it is not for the faint of heart, and it's not for the faint of body. It is a lot of physical work. If you can get through all that, then you get there and you can sell your stuff. And the good news is that I have been selling stuff. But here's the next challenge, which is finding my people. My art is not to everybody's taste. And I go to some shows and it's just like, after 3 days, I've sold like $900 worth of stuff, and I paid $600 for the booth fee, and I am not happy. Those are not my people. And I have to say, I went back twice thinking maybe it was just that year, but no, they're not my people. I went to a show in Arlington didn't get in the first couple of times I applied. Got in last year, best one-day show ever. Those are my people. But it's hard to know that ahead of time. And, you know, I'm assuming they'll be my people next year too. I don't know yet. Hopefully they will be. But it's important, you know, we all have egos. It's important not to take it too personally, because, you know, it's not for everybody. That's just the way it is. You know, there's a lot of as an investment, not only on the show side, but in the studio. My disc grinder died, you know, $3,000 for a new grinder, yada yada. So pretty much I got my stuff now, and I am not wasting time and money at shows where demonstrably they're not my people. So, you know, I think I'm on the upswing in terms of income. I've been getting into the better shows. I do. Let's see, what show was it? Arlington. There's a show in Alexandria that I really want to get into, and I sent a copy of my booth photo to them, and I said, I upgraded my displays, but I just took this photo at a show. I didn't set it up in the backyard and make it all pristine. And they sent me pictures of the booths that got in, of the people who got in. Only 25% of the jewelers who apply get in. I do have to set up my booth in the backyard. It's so not fun. But hopefully I'll get into one or two fall shows that I haven't gotten into before. That's what I'm hoping. And I have a lot of fun at the workshops, and I think people really enjoy them. So that, I would say, is one of the successes. It's still hard to communicate, to get people to know about my stuff. My main way of communicating is an email list, and I now have over 1,100 email addresses on my list, and 40% of people open them.